Hello and welcome to the 6th devlog of my sound-based stealth game, Quiet. In this devlog, I just want to talk about pretty much the only thing that I've been working on, which is pathfinding and implementing that with the enemy. So if you can see right now, whenever I walk over to the enemy and a sound wave hits him, a path is generated and he follows it. It works pretty well. Sometimes whenever he hits it, he'll move back like right there to get to it, which is something I need to work on. As well as you see the animation has a little bit of a trail on the end of it when it's facing the right, which is an easy fix. I just haven't implemented it yet with the new animations the artist made. But it's working really well. It's really efficient. No frame drops really whenever a path is made. It's instant. The only thing is that I need to work on, as you can see, whenever he goes around an object, it looks fine, but sometimes he'll clip inside of it like so, which, yeah, you see that clipped over it, which isn't really what I want, obviously. I want it to be as, realistic as possible. I think a solution to that could be maybe if he's touching it, move him to the top of the node instead of keeping him centered like he is now. But so far, it's working really well. There's only one bug that can happen with the pathfinding right now, and that's if I go inside of an object like that. So the sound was generated inside of the object and it froze. So as you can see, I'm not the artist for the game, pretty obviously. This is an awful image, but I just wanted to explain why this is happening. So whenever the sound wave hits the enemy, so this is the sound wave, and let's say that it originated, where the player is, goes, hits the enemy, and then it's gone. A path is generated based on where the enemy is, and where the sound originated from. So the player can end up moving down here, but as long as that sound wave that started from here hits the enemy, it's going to hear from that direction, and it's going to generate like so. So the problem with it is, as you can see, actually two, in the case that I drew it, two of the nodes that I drew are inside of the box. And the problem with that is the algorithm that I have is going to try to look all around for any node that can connect to it. But the problem is, because it's inside of the box here, there's no node that can go to it. Because I have that defined as an immovable path. So you can't go inside of this, you can't use any nodes from it. So it's basically just gonna hang forever. So the only solution really for me to do that I can think of right now is just, if it's inside of it, then just trim down the path to the last node before it. So the node right there in this case. So I'm gonna talk about how I did the pathfinding. I pretty much just looked up some pseudocode for A*, and that was pretty much it. Like, I just implemented it into my own engine. The only difference is most of the pseudocode has kind of a maze grid, kind of like this. So they have a bunch of zeros, and then ones where the walls are, like this. And then that's how they do it. Each thing is one apart, each node's one apart. In my case, I have to make the nodes in a I had to do more of a game space, because obviously in the maze example that I showed, which is what a lot of the pseudocode is based on, you just have, a node per position. Well, in my case, I can't have a node per position. That would be one every pixel, and that would just be stupid, because that is, close to 1 million nodes if I want to do it that way. So what I did was, as you can see here, made them about 17 by 17 just for now. I could change it, and I had to do a few workarounds with the pseudocode, but it ended up working quite well, and there's no real problems besides that one bug that I have to fix. And the last thing to really do is just to make it so that whenever the enemy is near an object, it's going to shift over so that it's not overlapping the object, which I'm probably just going to have to make the point of focus that goes towards the node. So like right now it's the center of the enemy. Maybe move it over to the left or move it to the right, whatever. Move it back to the center, just so that instead of actually going through the object, it's going to keep staying on its respective own side and not touch it. An example of this would be this little guy right here. If he is moving, up and around the object, if he's moving center-wise, like he is right now in the game, you know, his face is going to overlap with it. But if I shift the point of focus to the head, he's going to go up like this. And then here I would shift it to the center. And then here I would flip the enemy and then shift it to the left. So that way, instead of just going through, and through like that, even though technically the point of focus is not going through the object, it's just going to go around and look quite pretty. There's really only the pathfinding to show for this devlog, just because how much time it's taken. I mean, just getting the algorithm barely working alone took somewhere around 20 hours, and you know, with school coming up and trying to get loans and getting packed up to move in, that's a lot of time out of my, you know, my day. But you know, all I gotta do is work on a couple of bugs with it, and after that I should be able to work on the next step that I want to work on, which is attacking for the enemies. So there are going to be two types of enemies with attacking. There's going to be the melee ones like the scrub, and then there's going to be range ones. And the range ones will try to keep distance from you, but basically when they're in a certain range and they hear a sound, well, when they're in a certain range from the sound's origin and they hear the sound, they're just going to fire whatever they have at it. And I think that's going to make it pretty interesting. You have to be very careful about alerting them especially, whereas the melee ones like this guy, pretty slow, you can run away from them, but if there's multiple of them or there ends up being, I don't know, let's say a much stronger, faster enemy, you know, I'd be pretty worried. But I'm just excited to get to the meat of the game, which is exactly what I'm working on now, because I'm finally done with most of the engine work and just now pretty much going on to gameplay for the most part. The artist is working on fixing that right side animation, as you can see, like I said, that little trail on the left side on one of the frames. And then he's working on the inside scene. I just made this temporary wall and floor for now, just for testing, and he's going to make an entire like inside of a gas station pretty much. And that's pretty much all for this week. If you want to check out our Patreon or Instagram, the links are right here. Thanks for watching.